Hello everybody, Chadwick.cervinski back with you here. Welcome to the channel. This is our series on a long-range microplane build featuring the Nano Goblin and running iNav. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put a link up here in the top for the playlist to the entire build list, and you should see that right now. And then I'm going to also put another link right here for all of my iNav adventures that I am working on. During this build series, we're going to go through the complete build of this aircraft. We're going to go through setting up iNav. We're going to be going into the field, testing out the various modes, doing the certain tuning aspects and trimming aspects of an airplane with iNav, and get this flying like a dream. So thanks for watching, and let's get to the video. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be part 3 of the Nano Goblin build, and we are getting pretty close. As you can see, I have done a little bit of work and cleaned things up a little bit with some zip ties just to kind of make wiring a little less crazy and all that stuff. In the last video, we went ahead and connected our motor, ESC, and both of our elevons up to the board. That's pretty much it as far as like soldering up to the board goes, besides the GPS, which is probably going to be one of the last things I do before I put it into the board, because we are going to have to glue this top back on that we cut off. So I want to make sure that everything is working before we do anything like that, and I got everything kind of stuffed where I wanted it to be. But anyway, we have our little voltage regulator that's running as a BEC for us here, and that's running off of main power, and that's putting out 5 volts 1 amp. And what I did was just tie both of the ground wires and the power wires for the servos together, and then just went ahead and soldered them on there, and everything basically is ready to go. I have already done a test run, and I will show you what's going on here. So let me just kind of zoom back out so you can get a complete overview of everything. So right now I have the crossfire hooked up, and I have everything powered off the board, and no VTX or anything like that. So we're just testing one thing at a time. So got the radio turned on. And you hear the Game of Thrones startup tone there. I must have had, I think this is an ESC that must have came from an old race flight build. But anyway, you saw the elevons twitch there. So if we move to the right, this one's going to go up, and that one's going to go down, and vice versa. And then if we pull down on the stick, they're both going to go up, and if we push up on the stick, they're both going to go that way. And of course, we can't arm because we do not have safe navigation yet as far as satellites and everything go. But just wanted to show everybody where we were at, and everything is routed underneath that crossbar, so then I'll be able to stuff everything back in there and get finalized on it, which is going to be the hardest part, I think. What I'm going to do, what I previously have done, is just taken some Gorilla Tape and stuck that to the foam underneath there, and that didn't seem to really make the best bond. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take actually a piece of Gorilla Tape, and I'm going to add a little bit of the foam tack to it, and then just kind of let it set and cure and marinate, and then rip the top of that off, and then place the board on top of it that way, instead of putting the tape on the board and like trying to smash it down on there. That didn't really work out very well. So let me clean things up here, and we will be right back. Alright, back at it here, guys, and I went ahead and did what I said I was going to do. I took some 3M tape, actually, the automotive type of tape, and I put just a little bit of foam tack on the bottom of it, and I put that in here where I'm going to put the flight controller. You can see it kind of cut out the different color of it down underneath there, and it's cured up overnight. And I just went ahead and wired everything else up to the flight controller. I've got the GPS wired up now. I've got the RunCam Split Mini wired up, and we'll zoom in here and we'll go over some wiring, and we'll also take a look at what is going on with the spreadsheet that shows you exactly how to wire everything up, so that way there's a little bit of clarification. Alright, we'll just go ahead and go around the ring around the rosy here. So on the actual VBAT in, this is where I have the Unify and the RunCam Split Mini powered, and also I am tapping off of power for that for this little voltage regulator Beck right here. So that's all going on and all good. This is powering our servos. So this is the servo power and ground coming into there at 5 volts. Right here in the front we have the GPS on this UART here, which we'll go over it on the spreadsheet. I think it's UART 6, but that's all powered up and running there. Right here, this yellow and orange is just the transmit and receive pins for the Crossfire. And then back here on the corner, which is on the 5 volt rail, labeled I think for airspeed pitot tube, that is the power for the Crossfire. And then next to that we have a servo 3 according to iNav, then we have servo 4, and then we skip a couple layers and we go up to motor 1, which is where the ESC and the ESC ground are. And then we keep on going up to the video. We have video in, video out, and then smart audio, which is on UART 4. And then this cable right here, just kind of flopping around, is a USB mini extension, because you won't be able to get a USB in here easily. The port will be facing this way, because the board rotation, I'm keeping it forward just because it is a little bit easier to wire everything that way. And the wing actually will be blocking access to the ESC, to the USB. So Ready-Made RC sells these little USB extensions for like $3, so that is what we are going to use. So now I think it's good. I've done a test. I've powered everything up. I've got video, I've got control, everything's working, GPS, all that kind of stuff. The pretty much time to go ahead and peel the tape off of that 3M and go ahead and stuff everything back into here and place the flight controller. So we'll do all that and then come back and we'll test everything out again. Alright everyone, flight controller is stuck in there and mounted securely. I'll go ahead and just zoom in a little bit so you can take a closer look inside there. So that's all in there, right where I want it. I've got a hole cut out down here to place a duct to drive some air in or out or whatever onto that board as well. So that's what that gap is right there. And then if we look at the back here, I have, of course, the GPS is mounted and everything is stuffed in back there. So we've got ESC, Crossfire, and we have the Beck down there at the bottom. So there's two big holes underneath there to allow airflow to come in. It's really about as good as I can get it. You can see there's just not a whole lot of room to work with back there. So this is all tunneled out right here by the motor, and I'm going to probably tunnel out a little bit more, and I've also done that up here on the top, so that way everything will have a nice exit hole and air can blow through there. And as you can see, everything just slides right back on top, and then we'll just throw some foam tack on there and that will be good as new. So let me go ahead and get that taken care of and clean these holes up a little bit, and we'll glue it down. I've already done a power test and everything is working. Video, radio, everything's good. So all left to do now is to start closing this puppy up. Alright, in essence of everybody's time, we'll go ahead and finish up the actual build here. Everything is done, and I have posted a video as far as flying and tuning iNav a little bit, and I'll post that video up here in the corner if you want to take a look at this. But real quick, let's just go over everything and show you the extra modifications that I've done. Now you can take a look at this thing and you can see that it is a dirty wreck and everything because it has been super muddy out and raining like crazy. But we'll talk about a couple extra things I've done here. So the first thing is, of course, we talked about the scoops. I have added one on top there, and I have also added a couple on the sides to pull in more air. I did have one on the bottom, and maybe for the summertime I'll go ahead and put that back in there, but for right now it's just picking up water and it's pretty bad, so we'll leave that out. But these scoops back here are really nice because they pull air in directly over the flight controller, and then these here are, I think, helping cool the RunCam Split and the Unify as well, so we'll see about that. Most importantly is reinforcing the Goblin. Now the Goblin's pretty stout, but you know, it can break, and the thing that's great about planes is you can just glue them and tape them, but you know, it kind of ruins your day if you get out to the field and something like that happens. So I have added carbon fiber rods to the front of the leading edge here on the top and on the bottom. So we've made those extra reinforced. And from a previous crash, I had split the nose pretty much from here forward. So when I glued that all back together, of course, everything is glued back together with foam tack. Works great. I did put some sparring right here to reinforce that and keep those pieces together. And I put some sparring all the way underneath here to keep everything together as well. And everything is super solid and all that. Got my Velcro back here for some grip tape. These are just some nasty holes that I cut out or whatever. And I have a dime taped to it over there for some reason. That must have been from something previous, but it works. But you can see all my tape has got like grass and everything in it, and that's the beautiful thing about planes. I did rip a wingtip over here, and that is glued back, and the hinge has got some tape on it there, and that works fine as long as you flex that out good. I usually like to use the 3M Durabond, but I can't find mine. So I have tape on the edges back here to keep these a little bit straighter because I noticed that they kind of curve. So I have that going on. Of course, we have our top glued back on here, and everything's stuffed back underneath there. I got a little crack right here that's been glued and taped. So these little planes can go through a war, and all that really just came from, you know, your first few unsuccessful bad launches and everything like that. So when we get into like the iNav configurator and stuff, we can try to look at some stuff in order to eliminate that a little bit and make things a little bit better. This is a weak point right here. It's been glued back together a couple times, and I got some tape over that. A little bit of electrical tape to hold the split in there. And then I'm using rubber bands to help keep this closed because it is kind of not secured as well as it used to be. And then if we open everything up, we can see everything's just pretty cool in there. The split just kind of hangs out in the front, and inside here, if I dump it out, when I fly 3S, I have like a little adapter cable here just because I find it makes things easier. I drop my locator inside there to help me find it. Got some, if I go down, got some Velcro here, and of course if we want to, we could still CG this out and run this on 2S. But I am flying with the Titan Power lithium-ion battery that will allow us to fly for a really long time. So that is pretty much everything that you need to know as far as getting this thing together. Still a little bit flexy, but that's just kind of what it is. I did put some tape back here because these are kind of flimsy, even though there is a spar back there already from installation. And that's pretty much about it right now. I can't really think of any other reinforcement or anything I would like to do. The only thing I would maybe think about doing is putting more carbon fiber rod right here just to kind of help keep these elevons a little straighter so they're not as wavy, but the tape seems to do a pretty good job. Unless you get some water underneath there, then you're going to have some problems. So that is the build, guys. That's how everything's going. That's what's flying. Flew it out to 2.5 kilometers yesterday. It's got everything on iNav working pretty decent right now. So I feel confident in making some videos about that and giving you guys some good settings to start with and everything. So that's going to be the end of this video. The next video we'll get into iNav configuration on this puppy. So we'll talk to you later.